Hello everybody and welcome back to the PSGL F1 2021 Esports Cup. We are here around the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for tonight's Grand Prix. It has all the aspects of an excellent race. My name is Evan Dalton and I am your stand-in commentator for tonight. Unfortunately, James couldn't be here due to some technical issues, I believe, but I will be your main commentator for tonight. As always, though, I am joined by Aidan. Hello Aidan, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Evan. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, doing very well, very well. It's exciting to get going. While we're waiting here in the lobby for everything to get started, we can run you through your championship standings. It is VSR on top by a landslide with 218 points, Outplayed Racing in second with 146, followed by WO in third spot, 90 points, and MNT in fourth on 88. It was a good week last week for FER. They had a poor start to the season early on, but they are back up and running. They have 76 points after finishing second and third. It was Ismail and it was Modestroll second and third for the FER crew last week. It is Shazoo followed then with 71 points, then IF4 on 69, TTG on 39, ET8 on 38 points, and TF10 on 20 points. Of course, your new addition to the series. We have your lineup on screen now for you. We're just waiting to get started, just making sure everyone is in. The drivers, you can see the drivers on your screen now. Let's note down below, of course, who you think will be an exciting prospect in this race. Of course, we are at Spa-Francorchamps. A bit of weather could throw up, and it rains very easily around Spa, but we are here for round 5. You can see, as we said, your lineup on screen. A lot of familiar faces. Jensen for IF4, familiar face now. WO, or apologies, Lars in the Haas, Grimbos in Alpine. A lot of familiar names you'll recognise from previous weeks. There is nobody in the Red Bull as of now, but I'm sure there will be by the time we do get going. There we go, full lineup for WO or Ismail as well, of course, as we said last week. P2 for FER. FER having a great race last week. If it is your first time watching the PSGL F1 2021 Esports Cup, though, we can run you through the point system. It is a different point system to every other league you may see. It is 35 points for the race winner, followed by 28 for second, 25 for third, 22 for fourth, 20 points for fifth, 18 for sixth, 16 for seventh, 14 points for eighth, 12 for ninth, and 10 points for 10th. And I believe we are getting ready to go now, Aidan.
Yeah, looks like we are just about getting ready to go. We are missing a few people, unfortunately. I think some people are having a few issues with their game at the moment, which is a shame to see. But yeah, really interesting this race is going to be this evening. Like you say, it's VSR dominating really at the top of the sheets at the moment. They've had such a stellar run in the first 4 rounds. OP as well have really been they've been underdogs really this season. They've been really, really strong. They've not had the outright speed of VSR, but they've been really strong throughout the season and got really, really good results out of that one as well. So interesting to see what they can do. And then, of course, like you mentioned earlier, FVR getting a double podium last time out, their first real proper result in this championship, and they jumped from 10th in the standings all the way up to 5th in 1 round. So just goes to show that one good result for your team and anything can happen.
Yeah, of course, some people weren't really expecting Outplayed to play a big part in this, of course. I, for certain, didn't really know who they were until this championship started, but they have been real underdogs in this championship, as you said, and as you can see, it is a dry qualifying in Spa. We'll be unsure of the weather conditions for the race until a little later on, but it is a dry qualifying in Spa. In terms of strategy, Aidan, will it be everybody going for the fastest lap on softs? Will we see a couple of drivers on the mediums?
It's difficult to say, really. I think some people may go out early on the set of medium compound tyres, but I don't think that will be to try and qualify on that set of tyres. I think that will be so that they can save maybe a set of softs for the race. It is a fairly easy soft-medium strategy around this circuit. You'll struggle to find anybody else that will do something different, unless, of course, you have to pit very early on for a set of hard compound tyres. But yeah, the soft-medium strategy, very easy round here, and starting as high up as you can. While the track is relatively easy to overtake on, track position is really crucial around this track because it can get very messy in the midfield. It's a difficult circuit to race well against other drivers on. So I think we're going to see pretty much the majority of this field gunning as fast as they can to try and get inside the top 10 on the softs.
Yeah, of course, as you were saying, safety cars, well, I know you weren't saying, but you were saying that there could be the possibility of a hard tyre safety car. Safety cars can be common around here due to the nature of the track, as you can see. We're on board with Fabi, have Eau Rouge, you've Radion, all these difficult corners. Puhan is a common one that will catch out some drivers as well. But we are into qualifying now. A couple of drivers on the outlaps, nobody really on a lap. Azzy in second spot is one of those drivers going for the mediums for a banker lap. As you said, there is quite a few there. Jensen won as well, but it looks like the main runners of Juiced and Jordan going for the soft so far. It seems to be the case.
Yeah, definitely seems to be the case. Like you say, going for that soft compound tyre, a couple on those on the mediums, but like I mentioned earlier on, probably doing that strategy of saving a set of softs for the race. And this track is going to be an interesting one for qualifying, isn't it? There's a lot of corners around this track. It's the longest track in terms of distance on the F1 calendar at just over 7 kilometres. It's a really, really long circuit. But surprisingly, around this track, the split in field usually isn't that big, because while there are a lot of corners, it's kind of difficult really to get them wrong in a sense. If you're in a good rhythm throughout this lap, then a lot of the times we'll kind of match up to one another. So it's going to be a really close qualifying.
Yeah, it will be a really close qualifying. It has been close on many occasions previously in this Esports Cup. Of course, VSR taking the main dominance in the race, but it has not necessarily been that way all throughout qualifying. Almost everybody on an outlap now. We will get times being pumped in left, right and centre. Suku, though, is going to go on a lap. We'll follow him for the time being. We can't be switching up and down, of course, to different drivers, but he will be the first one. We will lead away into the source, turn 1. It is a difficult right-hander down Camber, and then you get on to the long straight up towards Eau Rouge and Radion, the left and the right, two of the most famous corners on the calendar. Most certainly flat out through them easily in these dry conditions, and onto the Kemmel straight, where I wonder, will we get any teams possibly trying to slipstream each other, or is that allowed in this?
Definitely is allowed. I think we'll see quite a few people doing it. We saw quite a bit of it in Baku early in the season as well, so any gain you can find around this track could be massive, and the Kemmel Straight is the perfect place to do it.
Yeah, any gain you can really take, it is flat out for that, almost the full sector 1, apart from that turn number 1, but that chicane, you do have to be careful of the curbs through No Name now, the corner with No Name. You have to be really careful of invalidating a lap on that right hand side. That curb can be dangerous. Puhan, it's not as risky as he would probably like it to be on his final run from Suku, but it is still a good run through that. Now, the right-hander and the left-hander heading towards Campos and Stavolo. It's if you nail the lap, it can really feel satisfying, this circuit. Don't invalidate on that left-hand curb as well. We should start seeing some times popping up on the timing tower on the left-hand side in a couple of moments' time. But it is Suku and the Williams who we are with now. Hello everybody joining the stream. We are live at Spa, if you couldn't tell already. Into the bus stop chicane comes Suku, yellow flag in sector 3. That is due to traffic at the bus stop chicane. You can see a slow Haas there, just starting his time. That can be a common problem. It is WOR setting the provisional lap, and Suku can't beat it, so it will be the Haasman on provisional pole position with a 41.5. That is Jensen on the mediums, 43.2. There is AZ behind, and that is Fabi gone second spot in the Mercedes. So still, WR on top. A good lap there. The other Shizuman of Brock slots in behind in the Williams Racing Machine, and there is the FVR driver currently on a lot of form with a 41.5 of Ismail. And that is Jordan gone third. We would have expected to see him near the top of the timing sheets. He still is near the top of the timing sheets, of course, but would it almost be pole expected for him tonight?
Yeah, you definitely do expect it from VSR. They've been on such a good run of form that you come to expect it, don't you, at this point, that they're going to do really, really well. But yeah, FVR, like you mentioned, no real run of form at the moment, and this was put it on to provisional pole. Baraka was actually just giving his teammate a tow down the Kemmel Straight, as we were mentioning, and his teammate at the time as well, which is Lars, of course, was giving him a tow down towards the bus stop, which is why we saw that yellow flag. It was just Lars moving out of the way of his teammate at the bus stop chicane. So the Haas drivers working in their slipstream into their strategy already in this qualifying session, and Lars hasn't had a bad lap so far. We'll see where he comes to at the end of the run. He's running up through this final part of the lap now, up towards Blanchimont corner, easily flat, of course, in these Formula 1 cars. Stay away from the curb on the inside, doesn't use a lot of the road on the exit either, just wants to get the shortest run to the bus stop chicane, brakes very heavily and very late into the corner, runs a little deep, but gets a nice turn in for the final part and across the line. We'll see if this shooting strategy has worked, and Lars goes third right behind his teammate, so it's a WR2-3, and just proving that the slipstream strategy is working quite nicely for them.
The team game is very strong around Spa, clearly. That has well worked for WOR. That is Baraka and Lars, second and third spot on the grid. They'll be hoping to keep that towards the latter part of the session. A couple of invalidations at the back you may have seen. Leo is not on the lap currently, but he did invalidate this first one. He is... He's backed out of this one, most certainly. A couple of drivers on the mediums as well. Grimbos was not on the mediums, but he was a driver who had a poor run, and he's not on a lap yet as well. Jomaba, apologies for that. That name was. I told you that name would cause me some trouble here, Aiden, but it most certainly has. He's not on a lap either in the McLaren. All drivers setting early laps. Valentino has gone fourth for Mercedes. He has beaten... He's beaten his teammate there. He has gone for a 41.7. So good lap for him. Spa is a track really where you can see a couple of surprises in the grid. Do you reckon we'll see any surprises from teams who haven't been performing so well? Teams like TTG maybe, and
I think it's
IFR.
It's definitely on the cards, like you say. I mean, I think so far this season, every time I've said a team could do well, I've kind of jinxed them. I've said team mentalism a couple of times, and every time it's gone wrong for them. So I'd hate to jinx the team as per usual. But yeah, TCG, outright speed has been really strong this season for TCG in that Mercedes car, and they're running in and around the top 10 in the majority of races so far this season. They've just not been able to bring the result in. I think a prime example of that was the Spain round, where Christmas was running comfortably inside the top 10, and then an audacious move at turn 10 kind of put paid to what could have been a really good result with TCG in that race. So yeah, it's definitely on the cards for TCG. They've got the speed to do it. They just need to be able to finish it off in the race. IFR as well, they had a really good start in Baku, with Jensen of course getting a P4 position in Baku, and since then just haven't really been able to repeat it. So I think we're still yet to see the best of both of those teams.
Yeah, still yet to see the best. Of course, that Jensen performance in Baku was one that really caught the eye of a lot of people, including myself. It was an absolute excellent performance from him. Not much action on the circuit at the minute. I believe Pat could be starting a timed lap. He is. He has just gone through the turn 1 of La Source. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's the only one on a lap apart from OP Fader, who's about to start a lap. Here we go. Here's the slipstream tactic from IF4. It is Jensen towing Pat down the Camel Straight. Is this one going to work as well as it did for WOR? We will have to wait and see, but that was a very nice tow. Very well played for IF4. We will have a look at the remainder of this lap, see how it plays out. That was good team play there.
Yeah, really good team play from the Ferraris, like you mentioned. Pat, a really good slipstreamer. And a 29.9 for the first sector is a pretty solid time, but all being slide there through corner with no name, and he validates on the exit because he did hit the apex on the inside, and that's just so easy to do around this circuit.
So easy to do around this circuit, and it has unfortunately happened for Pat. Yukita is in the chat saying, thank you PSN. I take it he's one of the ones who had issues tonight. Someone asking, where's Jarno? I mean, if Jarno was racing tonight, I think it would be a little bit unfair on some of the drivers, but Jarno Opmir is not here. Baraka is on the next lap, and I think we could see him struggling, because he was one of the ones who did get slipstream on his first lap, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, he got slipstream on his first lap, but interestingly, the Haas cars were the only one, and Baraka was the only one to try the slipstream down towards the bus stop as Fede's retired in the pit lane. That's a quali ban, by the way, for Fede, so he won't be setting a time in this session. Baraka got a slipstream off of his teammate, but on the run down towards the bus stop, so instead of up the Camel Straight.
Okay, so yeah, he can still improve in the first sector. Yeah, he's backed off, so he will not be improving. Our man, currently provisional pole time, Ismail Efior, is on a lap. However, he is down in the first sector, a 30.2, so not as fast as he was. He is still on provisional pole, but he will still have to improve, and he's invalidated, so he will not be improving on this qualifying lap. Nathan is another one who has invalidated. Pat's gone for another run, and oh no, he's returning the favour. He is returning the favour to teammate Jensen. The I4 guys have planned this out well as they enter into Lake Combe. This is good tactics from IF4 to get themselves up towards the front of the grid. Of course, as we said, Jensen, great performance in Baku, P4. He'll be hoping for another great performance tonight, I'm sure. Into No Name, where his teammate didn't validate. He has kept it clean, thankfully. Into Puhan now. Oh, pushing the limits there. Really pushing the limits there for Jensen, as that is VSR up to the top of the timing sheets. 41.4 for Jordan at the top. That is an excellent lap time, and that will take something to beat. But Jensen is currently on a nice run here. We're on board with him. He's 1.3 seconds up on his time. His first lap was on mediums, of course, so we would expect him to improve off that one. But this is still looking to be a good time for Jensen.
Yeah, looking solid at the moment so far, like you say, and IFR's strength usually comes in the race rather than qualifying, so this could be a good omen, hopefully, for Jensen and for Pat later on in this race. Then Jensen coming down towards the bus stop chicane, see if he can nail this final part of the lap and get himself in and around that battle. We've got around 5th place at the moment. He comes up to cross the line, and he goes even higher than that. Wow.
That's an excellent lap.
Yeah, brilliant final sector from Jensen, and he goes onto the front row of the grid. Wow, that is somewhere that we've not seen IFR all season long. That's brilliant for them.
I believe someone was having a dig at IFR in the chat as well, and Jensen has just gone and produced that lap. That is absolutely excellent, but a lot of drivers still on times yet. Some people backed off. A lot of drivers backing off, actually. Baraka, though, he's running a bit of an obscure line down that straight, but it seems to work for him. Into Puhan now, goes to Hassman. Yep, the drivers pushing the maximum in Puhan and not making mistakes. They really are top of their class so far. But this needs to be a good lap if he does want to improve on his first banker, as that was excellent. 5 minutes left in the qualifying session here at Spa-Francorchamps. Campos and Stavilo for Baraka, the WOR driver. Picking up a little bit of grass on that inside. That's surely not going to help his time. Blanchimon now. There's a little bit of traffic in front, but I think it's a bit too far ahead to interrupt his lap. And there we go. There is the 1-2 we were all expecting coming into this race. Surely it is a 41.3 for VSR at the top, and Baraka has backed off that lap actually, so he will be improving on this time. His teammate though, Lars, about to enter the first sector split. It's a 30.2 and he's 2/10 down, so the drivers who got slipstream down that main straight really struggling because they cannot improve on their time, but we will keep an eye on him. A lot of invalidations and a lot of drivers, surprisingly here, Aiden, still not set a lap time yet.
Yeah, bizarre to see. I mean, it is fairly easy to invalidate around this circuit, as we've already seen, but yeah, to see this amount of invalidations is a little bit bizarre.
Here's another slipstream. It's TF10 on it. They have been looking at the other team, and Leo has got a nice tow down that straight from his teammate Jomamba.
Yeah,
sorry for interrupting there, but that was a very nice tow from the TF10 team. And thank you to everyone tuning into the stream. We have a really exciting race ahead of us into No Name. We've seen a couple of mistakes here from drivers, but it is all clean from Leo. He's running that obscure line that seems to work for these drivers. And into Puhan, you can just see the car at its absolute maximum through that left-hander. It really is a splendid corner to have a look at, especially on the qualifying pace. It will catch some drivers out in the race, I imagine. George Naird is saying they're doing my strategy of not setting a lap. Yes, if you do remember watching the social races, he did not set a lap and did get pole and ended up winning that race in the dying moments. But back to the focus on this, Leo still pushing his lap through Blanchimon. He got a beautiful tow off his teammate. We'll have to see where he can go at the late stages of qualifying. A couple of drivers will be starting their final runs of the session soon. 2 minutes 48 left. Here comes Leo. A bit of a slide through the bus stop, but it's still going to be a good lap for Leo. It's top of the timing charts with a 41.2. TF10 have absolutely nailed that strategy. Really good lap time from Leo.
Yeah, brilliant lap time for me. Like you say, half a tenth of a second clear at the top of the timesheets. We'll see if anyone can respond. But yeah, a lot of different names at the top, isn't it? Of course, the VSR up there as per usual, and Isma's been really strong in qualifying all season along, but Jensen and Leo right up there as well. Baraka in the top 6 comfortably at the moment. Brock is up there for Shazoo as well, so seeing a lot of new names at the front of the field, which is really, really nice to see. And we've still got more people to set their times. Another one of those is Grimbo's. He's improving on his lap in the Alpine. Of course, his first run not representative at all. He's coming towards the end of the lap now. He's about 4/10 down on Leo at the same split, so this should put him in and around around where Fabi and Lars are if he nails this final bus stop chicane, which it looks like he does so on the surface of things. Comes around the final corner and up towards the line, and the Alpine driver goes actually just behind those at 41.7, so he is in and around there just a little bit. So P11 for the time being, which isn't actually a bad spot for the start of this race, of course. That would be the lead person on the alternate strategy.
Yeah, P11, not a bad spot at all, but the man behind him, Suku, is improving on his current time. We'll have to see what he can do through Puhan and through the second and third sector. Flat out, as I've said probably too many times on this stream, but it is a satisfying corner to watch the right and left-handers next. You don't want to get too much on the curb, as it will throw you off and will send you into that gravel trap. But he has nailed that into Campus and Stavallone now. Don't invalidate on the exit, pushing the boundaries. He is up by 0.5 of a second. So this is going to be a really competitive time from Suku, the Shizou man in the Williams. He's currently P12, and this lap would most certainly put him near the top of the timing sheet. This would pop him, could pop him in the top 5 if he can nail this last sector. Maybe get a little bit more time in it. It's an excellent run. We're seeing a lot of drivers, as you said, a lot of different drivers up near the top of the timing sheet. Pin the throttle, get the exit. Where's it going to put him? P3. That's an excellent lap time from Suku. He is really one to watch here. And as we almost are less than 30 seconds into the session, VSR not currently on pole position where they would love to be, and Jordan hasn't validated. So that's it for him. Yeah, because he's not getting around to the line.
Yeah, not going to get around, like I say. That's it for Jordan and his teammate as well. The timing screens are a little bit out of sync, I think, so there is a bit more time in this session, but of course it's still quite close to the end of the session anyway. Just is waiting to give his teammate a tone, I think unawares that his teammate's time isn't valid anyway, so it's not going to make any difference. So
Just was stuck behind Lars, actually, who is now giving his teammate Baraka a tow down towards Blanchimont. We've seen these two do this before on this straight. There's a car on the exit there. They avoid it nicely. This is an excellent tow. Surely this will gain Baraka quite a lot of time if he can just nail the bus stop chicane. That is really good team play. Team play, a big part in this Esports Championship. But here comes Baraka across the line. It is second spot. That is excellent. He started the session in second spot. He could well finish it in second spot. This is really good stuff. And IF4 are at it once again. Jensen behind Pat, who's currently in 10th spot. Pat sacrificing his final runs for Jensen. Really good team play from the two IF4 drivers. I can't really see what Jensen has gone in the first sector. It just cut off a little bit too quickly, but it seems to be really well if he can nail the remainder of this lap. How the VSR guys, it is Jordan slipstreaming used, so these guys have started this tactic as well. As we've mentioned, team play really important, and even the team dominating the championship still have to go for team play. Lacombe now, no mistakes needed here for these two, because they will want to dominate and start on pole, even if they still have a really good time, championship points tally. Suku is back up his lap. He won't be doing another one. We'll see how Jensen is doing as he enters the second and third sector split. He's up by almost 0.2 of a second, so he is going well. A couple of drivers at the bottom. WO and Lars is pushing it through the middle sector, almost making a mistake on that outside curb. He has, of course, the VSR guys just behind him on their laps. We'll go back to Jensen. Pat is in the gravel, but he has finished his lap. He was given a slipstream on his final run. Here comes Jensen, though. Bus stop chicane. He needs to nail it, as we've seen a lot of drivers absolutely nail this corner, which can be a tricky one. Little bit of a rear sliding for Jensen, but it will be P4 for the IF4 man at best. Jordan has backed off his lap, apologies, but is used to still on a time. He's about to enter the bus stop chicane, and he is improving. He could snatch a pole off TF10 in the dying embers of the qualifying session. Time is well and truly up now. It is all or nothing for VSR Just, who will take pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix. Most certainly, I cannot see anyone beating that lap time, as it looks like almost everyone. Yeah, everyone has backed off. It is pole for VSR. They have taken it, and they've put in the lap when it was needed most.
Yeah, put it in, like I say, when it was needed most right at the end, and they weren't using the slipstream strategy at the start of the session. They opted against not going for it again, and they did go for it in the final run, and it paid dividends for them. Their only problem is that there's now 5 cars in between the two drivers, and instead of it being what could have been maybe a front row lockout or a 2-3 if Jordan hadn't validated his time. So that will make it a little bit more difficult from a team standpoint, but of course, like we mentioned, this track fairly easy to overtake on, so it's anything but over for Jordan and for a lot of people further down the field as well. I think one big standout in that session, Isma wasn't able to improve and will start 11th on the grid.
Oh yeah, Isma starting 11th spot. There's a lot of drivers. OP with a very poor qualifying performance. Of course, one of them had a qualifying ban, but Nico, 18th. No lap time. Not good for them. We're just waiting for people to go into the pit lane, of course, and we can't start the formation lap proceedings for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's going to be an interesting race for sure. As you've said, overtaking is quite easy around this track. Many corners, you can do it in La Source, the bus stop, Lake Combe. Might even see some people have a cheeky dive into Puhan. But here's your qualifying results. It is used on pole for VSR, followed by TF10 Leo in the McLaren. It's still a really good lap for TF10. Of course, the new additions into this championship WOR bracket. In third, Jensen fourth. He will want to keep that spot after he had that excellent result in Baku. Suku finishing in fifth, Valentino in sixth, Jordan in seventh, Fabi in eighth, Brock in ninth for Shizu. A good performance from Shizu in that session. They'll be starting fifth and ninth. It is Lars in 10th. Isma will be first on the alternate strategy, most likely, in 11th. Pat 12th. Grimbo's 13th. Nathan 14th. Azzy 15th. It is Pandry 16th. Joe Maba in 17th. Nico 18th. Fade in 19th. And it is Efior Kodor in 20th. But a really interesting quality.
Yeah, really interesting quality, like you say, and of course, used at the top of the timesheets once again, but a lot of standout drives in that session. Jensen, of course, 4th on the grid. That's brilliant for IFR. And Pat as well had a pretty solid qualifying. 12th on the grid for Pat, which is, I think, better than we've seen from Pat so far this season. Pat has struggled a little bit so far this season, so to see him competing in and around people like Isma and that on qualifying session, it's great to see as well. And of course, TF10, new additions, like you said, last time out to this league, and to put that McLaren on the front row is great for them, and it's great for them moving forwards as well. Of course, joining late means they're not really in any sort of championship battle, but it's good for them to, as a team, to build confidence for the rest of the season and see where they stand in amongst these great teams.
Yeah, it is. Just while we're waiting, reading through a couple of chat comments, some people saying slipstream in quality is ridiculous. I mean, that is what got people up the grid, was when they worked as a team, and they got the slipstream. A couple of I4 guys wishing people luck, saying let's have a clean race. Yes, hopefully a clean race, hopefully an excellent race. In terms of battling, Facilio had issues joining the lobby. That is why he isn't here. That is a message from the I4 crew. But we are getting ready and started in Belgium. It looks like a dry race, so I can't see any rain affecting us too badly here. There is the tyres everybody is on, and I mean, it's not too much of a surprise, is it? The bottom 10 all on the medium compound tyres, the top 10 all on the softs.
Yeah, not really surprised, like you say. It's not a surprise to see all those on the medium tyres. I think if you were starting 11th or 12th, you could maybe think about starting on the softs, but you're off of the soft compound tyres fairly quickly around this circuit. It's about usually around lap 6 or 7 when you'll start to see people coming in off of those tyres. So while it's a short-term game for a good start, you may not really gain anything from it later on. We know how powerful alternate strategies have been on this game in recent races as well. So the alternate strategy here, always the way to go if you're starting outside the top 10.
Yeah, and another thing is, even if you do start in the mediums and there is a safety car around the soft lap pitties, you could still go for a set of the hard tyres. You'd be on the same as everyone else. You might see some people risking it though. If there's a safety car around the softs pit stop window, we might see a couple of people just stay out and try risk it and go over the soft. Anything can happen, and that is the beauty of Spa-Francorchamps. It is an excellent track. We can see drivers heating their tyres, even trying that line into Puhan, which I don't know, I just can't see that line working as well in the race as it would in qualifying. Of course, these guys are much better drivers than I would most certainly be on this game, but it just seems like you could leave yourself a little bit vulnerable if you do make a mistake through Puhan there. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there though. But surely it is VSR tipped for the win here tonight, or could we see anybody throw a spanner into the works?
It's going to be interesting. I think, yeah, VSR have had such a stranglehold on this championship for this entire season. It would be, in a way, it would be nice to see another team take top honours in that sense. It's been that kind of season so far, but yeah, FVR came close last time out and weren't quite able to do so. But if there's anybody any team that we've got to look for, TF10 of course, Leo up there, he'll be wanting to prove a point for the team. Jomaba is a lot further down the field in the other McLaren, but that's at least one driver on the alternate strategy, so they hedge their bets with either strategy. I've got my eye though on Shizu. Suku had a good race last time out at Singapore. The result didn't quite go his way in the end. He had a really strong first and midpoint of the race, so I've got my eye on Suku. He could spring the surprise here.
Suku could spring the surprise. James, who isn't here tonight, says it will be VSR dominance once again, and a lot of people saying the alternate strategy is really good. We are waiting on Kodor to line us up on the grid here in Spa-Francorchamps. With the positional change up on the left-hand side for you beside the names, so you can keep track of what we miss. Lining up on the grid in Spa, there's a short run down to turn 1, but we've seen chaos many times there over the years, 2012 being a prime example of that. Here come the red lights though, hopefully get a better camera. There we go. 5 red lights. And we go racing in Belgium. What's the race start like? It's been a really good start from Just at the top of the order, but it has also been a good start for Baraka, who's trying the inside of a couple of cars. Jensen and Suku getting involved in it there. A lot of cars on the left-hand side, but it is all safely true at turn number 1. On the run down to Rouge and Radion. There's a 2 wide here. It is Valentino and Fabi, the 2 teammates, almost running side by side. True Radion. Is anybody making moves? Look at Leo. He's alongside Just and takes the lead at this Belgium Grand Prix. What an excellent start from Leo. Takes the lead. There's a lot of drivers going from Ouse into Lake Combe. The 2 Mercedes drivers really going at it side by side for most of the opening part of this lap, and it is Brock. He's dropped back a few spots. There is Grimbos around at the back, I believe, in the Alpine. And there's a lot of movement there in the mid-pack, but that was a fantastic race start for Leo. He has did exactly what he needs to do. As we head down to Puhan on lap 1, it is TF10 leading the opening lap in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, brilliant start from Leo there. It's very reminiscent of a Vettel move, wasn't it? 2018, just breezed around the outside of the Aston Martin coming out towards Lake Combe. Brilliant stuff, and that's exactly what he needs to do further down. Lars going for the move on Isma, back up into 10th place. I don't know if Isma's got damage or whether that's just the understeer on the medium tyres, but that does look like a lot of understeer. Yeah,
a lot of understeer there. There's no visual damage on the front wing of that car, but he could well have damage there. Of course, it's not always visual on this game, one of the joys of an F1 game by Codemasters, but he is really struggling with the understeer. Brock is looking for a move on Fabi though, as we head through Blanchimont, not quite side by side, but he's got a good toe through here. He could easily try a move into the bus stop chicane. Bit of movement in front. He's gone down the inside, has the Williams, but the Mercedes just blocks it off, and that is Jordan around, I believe. Yes, it is Jordan around in the Aston Martin. He's made a mistake there, and there's a little bit of a crash behind him. Pat just gets turned into by an AlphaTauri. They've all managed to survive that one as well, but that is the Aston Martin of Jordan down to 11th spot, but his teammate Just is going for the race lead once again on the back of Leo. Rouge and Radion, the slipstream, as we've said, really dominant. Leo will have to do quite a lot to defend himself from this one. Here comes Just though. Left or right, pick your side, says Leo, and Just decides just to stick behind, and he's going to go for a late move, I imagine. Or is he just going to keep pushing? No, he's not going to go for a move. That is an odd decision there. He is more than happy to stick in the slipstream. Could save a bit of tyres, and we'll see what happens on the next lap. But these top 3 are already creating a little bit of a gap ahead of Suku in 4th, who has just got ahead of Jensen. Jensen down 1 spot into 5th and is finding himself under a little bit of threat by the TTG boys in the Mercedes.
2 Mercedes drivers doing well so far. They had their little battle on that one. Valentin got ahead of Fabi in that, but it was good clean racing between the 2 drivers. By the way, explanation of that incident for Jordan, down the inside of Valentin, braked too late and basically hit the side of Jensen's car. So trying that move into the bus stop chicane, was too eager on the brakes and just drove into the side of the Ferrari and spun himself out. Nothing that Jensen could have done to avoid that. I think Jordan's got away with no damage. He did reset to track though, so that might be a penalty coming the VSR driver's way later on in the stewards room. He's now back down behind Isma. I think Isma has gotten away with no damage by the looks of things. He was just struggling in those corners on the medium tyres. Of course, they do take a while to heat up, but he's getting them back up to temperature now, and he's dropped the rest of the medium runners, and he's just sticking within range of Lars. And if he can stick within the DRS range of the soft runners in front,
oh, sorry, we were side by side through Blanchimont. That was very close there between Nico and between the ET8 guys. But this battle at the back of the pack between Nathan and Kodor is really throwing some of the drivers off as we get down lap 3. I'll let you continue that point there. That is Jordan, as you were saying. avoiding damage. Here we go again. Eau Rouge Radion is just going to look for a move on the back of TF10 Leo in the McLaren. It doesn't seem to be, he just seems to be sticking behind for the time being. No, he's really got to launch now. This surely is an easy move for Just. Yep, he is ahead well into the braking zone. VSR once again lead this Belgian Grand Prix. Leo, he had a good defence for a lap, but he will now have the slipstream and the DRS to keep with Just, and that will be his goal surely for the rest of the race. TTG running well though. We said at the start of the stream that they haven't really had the best season so far, but it is Valentino and Fabi running really well for the TTG crew.
Yeah, doing a solid job, like you say. Fabi's a little bit detached from his teammate, but he's very high on ERS, so you can tell at this point in the race he's not pushing. He doesn't really need to push at this point in the race on those soft tyres. I think Just was almost forced into that move. I was riding on board with Baraka, and Baraka had such a run on both of those drivers. I think Just was planning to sit behind the McLaren man, and then saw behind him that the Haas was coming at him so quickly that he had to go for the move for fear of Baraka passing the pair of them. So he got the move done in the end, and Baraka couldn't quite find a way through himself. So Just maybe didn't quite want to go for that move, but was forced into it by the WOR driver.
And that's really good stuff for the WR driver. If he can... Oh, speaking of TF10, apologies, that is Jomamba off at the back. He's made a mistake there, but as we were saying, that's really good for the WR driver. If he can force VSR to make moves that they don't want to do, that really shows he's in a good spot in this race. But he has fallen off the back of these two now, as that is Jordan into the pits for an early pit stop. That surely is for the hard tyres to the end.
It might be for the hards, it could be for the mediums. He could take them to the end, but they'd be right on the bubble, and it is medium tyres.
It is medium tyres.
Front wing change as well. He is changing his front wing, so he clearly couldn't go any further on those soft tyres. He's gone for the mediums just to risk it. Maybe hope for a safety car later on, but that has taken...
Here comes Leo. Apologies, Leo is gone straight back past the VSR man, and he's back into the lead of this Grand Prix. These two swapping and changing very frequently down the Camel Straight, but it is TF10 Leo. His teammate may have been involved in an incident there, but he leads the Belgian Grand Prix, and that is excellent stuff for the man in the McLaren. And yeah, as we were saying, Jordan making that pit stop and taking the wing change. Another thing he could possibly doing is changing his front wing to give himself a little bit more downforce or a little bit more straight line speed. Either way, he could find himself struggling a little bit to overtake cars, because he was stuck behind Isma in P10. But that is now Leo back up into the lead of this race. But surely Just is going to have another go. Oh no, he's had a wobble on the curb there. I thought he was going to be sent around for a second. That would have made a bad day worse so far for the VSR crew.
Yeah, definitely good, but Just gets away with it for the time being. All these soft runners seem to be fairly similar speed. No one's really pushing another that hard, and no one's really dropping back. I think you've got to say the only one on the softs that looks maybe a bit faster than the drivers around them is Lars in 9th at the moment, keeping up with the back of Brock quite nicely. They've now dropped Isma, so that just goes to show the power of a DRS train. As soon as he drops out of range, he's already 2.5 seconds back as the Alfa Romeo driver. And he's interestingly being caught now by Azzy. So Azzy and Pat and Nico are all starting to catch him again. So
early stop for Lars as well. So apologies just to talk about the strategy there. But Isma, another thing, his ERS is really low compared to the rest of the pack. So he's been burning it to keep up with the soft drivers, but he's did a good job of it. Here we go. Is Just going to go for another move on Leo? He's not burning any ERS. He could just stick behind. He doesn't have Baraka. No, he's gone for this. Surely he is well past these two. Just swapping and changing spots. It could be working in their favour as well, because they're just slipstreaming each other down the straight, but I can't really see why they would be helping each other. Although who knows with what these drivers are thinking. Sometimes that is actually Pat who has got past Azzy. We said Azzy was gaining on Isma, but Pat has got past, and Azzy seems to be struggling all of a sudden in that Alpha Tauri, but just sticks behind Pat for the time being. And yeah, the soft runners, there's a little bit of a gap between them all, apart from our top two who do have a gap now. Just has got a fantastic run through the middle sector. Yeah,
brilliant run through the middle sector from Just so far. It does seem like, to me, it seems like Leo does have a little bit of a faster car in a straight line. I think the fact that he was able to overtake Just so easily on the first lap down that straight, I think proves that the McLaren is maybe more set up for the first and the third sector and Just for the middle part of the lap. Baraka, a little bit of an error there coming into Stavolo, and he's just dropped back ever so slightly, almost out of range, and he's now burning his ERS to try and keep within range. But I think Leo is burning his ERS to try and drop him at the same time. So They're all pushing at this point in the race. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more drivers into the pit lane. Lars, our first driver that's properly onto the medium tyres without having to make a front wing change. We'll see if anyone follows him into the pits, and Fabi is into the pits for TTG, so he's the only one that will respond to Lars. He was only a couple of drivers in front as well, so we'll see if the undercut from Lars has worked in any way.
Really good comment coming in there in the stream, which is something I didn't pick up. These soft runners could well be working together to counteract the alt strat runners, because they will be really quick in the later parts of the races. Leo burning his DRS. He wants to go back past Used, but yeah, I think he is here. The DRS just so powerful down this Camel Straight. It is TF10 Leo who will be back past Used for not the last time today, I can imagine. These two really working together here, because they are starting to drop the pack. Of course, we've seen Baraka make that mistake. He burned a lot of DRS to catch back up, because realistically, once you fall out of DRS here, you will be caught up pretty quickly. Apart from Isma, who's doing an excellent job on these mediums to not be caught by, I suppose you could say, the peloton behind him. If anyone watches cycling, they'll know the effects of running in a group. OP Nico is up into the point, well, apologies, everyone scores points. He's up into the top 10, but he is finding himself under threat from Pat, who, Pat must have made a mistake, because he was in front of these two guys. Didn't catch that, but must have been a mistake from Pat. These two actually running side by side as we enter the middle sector. Pandra trying around the outside of Pat. Pat really struggling in this Ferrari. I don't think he's picked up damage or anything, but he's definitely struggling down in 11th spot, finding himself under threat from the Avatari, who could easily try moving to the bus stop chicane. We should start to see more pitters this lap at the front of the order, though, as these tyres will be getting old fairly soon. Top two are not in. Baraka is not in. Suku has gone for the strategy. He's going to try something different. We'll have to see where he comes out in relation to Lars and Fabi. And that was the ET8 man trying around the outside of Pat. And he's got it done into the bus stop chicane. That is a lovely move from the ET8 driver in the AlphaTauri. There was a lot of position changes due to the pit stops. Will be a little bit of a commotion for the moment, but we will get that back sorted in a moment's time. That is AlphaTauri and ET8 past Pat for 8th spot here in this race. Running well are the medium runners. The top two have swapped once again at the top of the order, but we are well used to that. Jordan is so fast, saying someone. Jordan, yes, he is ahead of Isma. Isma has pitted for the softs on lap 7.
Yeah, I just caught that actually. He's come into the pits. He had damage. He's replaced his front wing, so that's why he was struggling to keep up with the soft runners. He did have ever so slight amount of damage on that front wing, so the fact he was able to stay ahead of the rest of the medium runners with the damaged front wing, I think just says what could have been for Isma in this race. He had really strong pace, but yeah, he's going to have to pit again. No way he's going to take those softs to the end of the race. At this point, he's probably just hoping for another safety car. Valentine, by the way, came out behind Fabi and Lars, so he's been undercut by two drivers, and Fabi nearly undercut Suku as well. So Suku and Fabi here could jump past Baraka, possibly. Definitely could get closer to Leo, as well as Leo's now just struggling a little bit more in that middle sector.
Yeah, the undercut seems very powerful. The other FVR man of FVR Corridor has actually got past the ETA man of Pandria, so that is a big scrap in the middle of the pack. Surely we will be seeing some people in the pits. Baraka now would be a good time to pit. He has fallen out of the DRS, and the top two, the top three, and the top four are all in the pits as we have a yellow flag. It is Lars gone at the back of the pack. The man who we said was looking good for an undercut will not be looking good for an undercut, as he has made a mistake, and he's not looking like he is going to continue in this Grand Prix. He's just gone straight into the wall, and this could bring out some sort of ESC. It has brought out a full course safety car. It has brought out a full course safety car, and that has messed up anybody who didn't pit, and it seemed like everyone has pit. Used has come out. He's always come out just ahead of Nathan, but Leo has two cars in between him and the Aston Martin, who he was battling with at the start of this race. And I mean, that was a bit silly from Lars, because we could clearly see he just wasn't bothered taking control of his car again.
Yeah, that's a real shame to see from Lars, to pull that kind of strategy, to put the car into the wall seemingly on purpose and cause a safety car. That is such a shame from Lars. He could have brought that back to the pit lane and repaired the car, and then gone out on another set of tyres and hoped for a later safety car. But yeah, even if he wasn't planning on continuing, we could have at least retired in the pit lane and given everyone else still a fair chance of this race. So that is
That is unfortunate. Someone saying the Shadow Realm claims another victim. I mean, he wasn't really going that fast into the wall, so really to the Shadow Realm, but yeah, it's disappointing, and that has probably affected the men who he was running with. Fabi is now down in 13th, Valentino is down in 15th, Jordan has pit again for the mediums, and Jomaba has pitted for the softs. He's actually just received a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. We were on board with the McLaren. He wasn't really speeding, so that is an unfortunate penalty for him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think he must have then gone really far over his delta and not been able to make it back into the green on his delta in time for the timer to run out. So, yeah, crucial error. And of course, he's got to serve that now after the green flag is back out. So that's going to drop him well off the back of the pack. Isma as well, another one that pitted again for the medium. So that somewhat brings him back into this race. What do all these leaders do then? Nico, Azzy, Pat, Kodor's in, Panjai's in. Just of course staying out is of course Nathan is staying
Nathan's
out.
stayed out, so he'll gamble. He is playing the game of gambling, and he'll be hoping for some sort of late safety car. A lot of people saying that it could be Fanatec at it again with the Lars crash. Yeah, could well be Fanatec at it again. It just looked unusual, but we're not gonna comment on that. It's not our place to comment on that. We're here to commentate on the race, and there's a lot of people going for the soft compound tyres here, Aiden. Will these get to the end? I wouldn't have originally thought so, but maybe.
No. It depends on the safety car when it comes in. By the looks of it, it's probably going to come in at the end of this lap, I would say, which would be 13 laps on a set of soft compound tyres. I mean, it depends on your setup. It is doable, I would say. But you're going to be right on puncture territory by the end of the race. It's going to be pretty horrible by the end of the race, the soft tyres. And it's more as well about the pace drop-off more than anything from the softs. So by the end of the race, the softs will probably be slower than the mediums and the people that are racing in front. So the likes of Nico and Azzy have got to make the moves on these medium runners almost immediately in this race if they stand any chance of holding on at the end.
A gamble that the soft runners could also be going for is possibly they'll be on the softs, then say there is a big collision, the safety car restart involving some of the medium runners. They'll be hoping for another safety car to come out. They can do a few more laps going slowly, saving the tyres, and then could get to the end. But it's still a big gamble to play because there was no real sign of a safety car until that Lars incident. Even when he spun himself, it wasn't going to be a safety car. They are really playing a gamble in this one to go for the softs, but I'm excited to see how it pays off. But Nico and Azzy both need to make moves, as you said, really early on, and everyone has caught up. I cannot see the safety car staying out for another lap, but we will wait and see. Nathan as well could really cause some trouble in this pack. He hasn't pit. His tyres will be a lot older than everybody else on the grid. They'll be a lot more worn. And yep, safety car in this lap. Leo needs to get past him very quickly if he wants to get back up to Eust.
Yeah, really important this part of the race for Leo and Baraka as well. They need to not let Eust get away from Nathan here with this safety car restart. Nathan is really eager to go. I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan tries to get the lead of this race at the safety car restart. And yeah, we know the term safety cars breed safety cars. We could see another one very soon after this one, so maybe that is, like you say, what the soft runners are gambling on.
Will be used to lead us away on the safety car restart. He has led many a race in recent times in the F1 2021 game. He has for sure did a safety car restart. He will be looking. The man who he'll really be looking to catch out is Leo. He won't see Nathan as too much of a threat here, I don't think. He will really be looking to catch out Leo. He could well go before the bus stop chicane. The safety car has entered the pit lane and he's gone. He's gone well before the bus stop chicane, and he has not caught out Leo, who's alongside Nathan. And he's going to try around the outside of Nathan. He's already passed. So Leo really making the move that he needs. Nathan will defend this one because he's in a fight with everybody behind him. Eust is leading the Belgian Grand Prix as we go racing for the second time. Leo's up the inside. Nathan defends it well, but Baraka is also going to try and make a move. These two going to be side by side to Eau Rouge, quite possibly. Don't want to take too many risks. There's no backing out from either of them as we go side by side up through the hill section of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, and they've both been through cleanly. Suku also looking to try and get past Nathan. This is a really excellent start as we head out 3 wide down the Kemmel Straight. As Nathan backs in, he is down to 6th already. Fabi is past, so is Suku. Jensen going to be looking to get past. This has not worked out for Nathan. This has worked out for Eust, who is leading this Grand Prix by 1.4 seconds ahead of TF10 Leo. The two are back at the front of the grid, and the soft runners not making the moves that they needed on the early parts of this restart.
No, not working at the moment. Nico tried to move on Brock, but Brock was pretty solid in his defence and held on to the position nicely. Nico again all over the back of him, down towards Puon. This is risky, and backs out of it well before the corner, so he doesn't go for the move. He might go for the run though, coming out of Puon and up towards the chicane in front as well. Jensen thinking about the move down the inside of Nathan.
Oh, Nico's tried it almost, as Jensen has gone for the move on Nathan. Nathan really struggling on these medium compound tyres. This is not worked out for him. He's down to 7th. He started in 2nd. He was really caught out on that restart by Just, as were many drivers, I believe. But Leo needs to push to the absolute maximum to get back into that DRS of Just before it is activated, because Baraka is almost in his, really spaced out at the front, which is something unusual to see, as we have 3 cars fighting. It is Valentina, Nathan and Brock. These 3 really going at it, as Nathan is going to possibly lose another position to Brock. He's going to try around the outside. That's not the first time Brock has did that move today. He's gone around the outside, which turns into the inside at the bus stop chicane. That is an excellent move, and none of the soft runners making a move, but Nico is looking for one past Nathan. Nathan, if he had pit, would have been with these guys. He's really lost out on this safety car restart, as he's going to look for this one again, as Nathan, no, he's not going to go side by side with another driver, as he is well past, Nathan there. The top 2 though still with a similar gap, and Suku is in the DRS of Baraka. Obviously DRS not activated. That is really the only battle at the moment in the top 5. But back here, the midfield, once again going at it. Nathan is passed by his teammate Grimbos, and he could well be passed by Feda here for OP Racing. OP slowly picking up the results again. There you have 2 guys on softs as he's trying down the inside. Nathan pushes him a little bit on the curb. Probably not the cleanest racing in the world, but Feda is true into P13, and it looks like, yeah, Nathan is down to 16th spot, and his chances are gone in this race, surely.
Yeah, surely they are gone. There's a lap and a half, and he's dropped from 2nd to 16th. That is just a horror show for Nathan. At that point, I think it was worth the gamble, definitely. As
Valentine!
Oh,
Valentine has gone round for TTG, and we said TTG hadn't got the best start in the championship. He has gone round Grimbos, and as he though, the other MNT driver, of course, we've seen Nathan drop Grimbos, and as he gonna try side by side through Blanchimon. Nico making moves, the first soft runner, and they've both backed down. Oh no, they have not. They're both still in the battle, locked tight here. I think as he, oh, they've almost made a bit of contact there. This is great racing between the 2. Really close, but it is Grimbos who makes the move. Nico has made a move on Brock. He's now the lead soft runner still, but he's 1.5 seconds behind Jensen, and the DRS is activated. Baraka has dropped off the back of Leo. Leo in a little bit of no man's land here, and he's burned quite a lot of ERS to try catch up to Just. 2nd position though, still an excellent result for TF10, but a lot of work to do for Leo if he wants to keep this one.
Yeah, like you say, a lot of work to do, but equally uses burnt through his ERS as well to try and pull the gap. So they're very similarly paced.
Sorry, Aiden, to overcut. Just, we have some reports in rain in 10 minutes, seemingly, in this Grand Prix. There is a rain shower coming now. That is, that would really mix up this one. That could be why the guys have gone on the soft, because they know an intermediate pit stop could be right around the corner.
That could play perfectly for the likes of Nico, definitely. That could be a brilliant strategy call. If that is the case, then we'll see how much further up the field he can get, but it's going to be a struggle now, because all the medium runners in front of him, they aren't old mediums, so they're still going to have good pace. In terms of ERS, outside of all the medium runners in the top 6, Jensen's actually the best off at the moment. He's got about 60% compared to the 20% that we've got for our 2, well, around the 30% we've got for our 2 leaders, and Baraka as well. So Jensen's just sitting pretty at the moment in 6th place, but as you can see behind him, Nico closing in very quickly in this middle sector, and he's almost within DRS range.
F.E.R. Coldor is the man making the most moves on this safety car restart. He is looking to get past Brock, who has dropped a few spots. He is now in P8. That could have been why Nathan went for that gamble, just to do the no-stopper until the wet conditions. It has not paid out for him, but he'll still carry on, because anything can happen in the wet conditions around Spa. A driver to watch, I know from commentating the F5, is Grimbos in wet conditions. He is lethal when it comes to wet spots. He is very fast, but of course everybody will be fast in wet conditions. These are at the top of their teams, that is why they're racing here. Leo though has dropped further off of Just. Barak has dropped further off of Leo, and Suku has closed in on Barak, so a battle could be forming here for the last podium spot. It would be a great result for Shizu, who you said were the ones to watch in this race. They still are ones to watch.
Yeah, still are ones to watch, like I say. Suku, can he get in closer? Kodor, by the way, has got past Brock, just as we're saying that, Kodor's got the move done. even with Brock having DRS range, Kodor's been able to get that move done. He's now up into 8th place from the very back of the field, so he's had a good recovery in this race so far. Grimbos will be the next to possibly have a run at Brock, who is the lead person on those medium tyres that's kind of getting caught by all the soft runners at this point. Nico, though, now he's got in DRS range of Jensen in front. He's going to struggle really to make an impact now. He's low on ERS, and he can't really get much closer than half a second to the back of the Ferrari in front before the dirty air really starts to affect him. So it's going to be difficult unless the drivers in front start battling, and likewise, Suku's not close enough to Baraka to really think about a move yet. So Nico's got to wait and hope that these drivers in front start to push and battle each other just that little bit more.
A man who we haven't spoken about is Jordan. He's down at P13 for the Aston Martin. He hasn't made that many moves yet, but he will still be one to watch, of course, because he is striving for VSO for a reason. Let's be honest, the dominant team of the championship so far, currently leading this race. Not going to gain as much points as they would have liked at the start of this race, but they still will gain the full 35 at the top of the order. Valentin picking up another penalty. Of course, he had that mistake at the back, and he'll just be hoping for some sort of safety car. But a battle that could develop, apart from the one that we are just currently seeing, Grimbos going past Brock, is Suku getting position on Barak. One Shisu driver loses a spot. We could well see the other one gain one in a moment. Fabi still running a solid 5th though, and currently in the DRS of Suku. Suku has that little bit more of an ERS advantage on Baraka, so we'll have to wait and see how this one develops. He is a bit too far off for a move on this lap, and Kodor will now be looking to get past Nico. They are the two top soft runners. Of course, you were saying Nico low on ERS. Kodor is not much better, but he is a little bit better. Brock, though, cannot make an impact on the soft runner of Grimbos. The mediums just still a little bit slower at this point in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, at the moment at least, yeah, it's an advantage of soft runners, but it's not that big of an advantage like we mentioned already. Jensen, I think, is just starting now to worry a little bit now about the soft runners behind. He's starting to push the back of Fabi just that little bit more, and Fabi likewise is just dropping away from Suku ever so slightly. So I think Jensen's trying to give the Mercedes man the hurry up, trying to get him a bit closer so that he can start battling with the drivers in front. It's not quite working for Jensen at the moment. 6th place still would be a great result for IFR, but at the moment I think he's wanting more. I think he thinks he can get closer within that top 5, maybe have a run at Baraka later on in the race. We'll wait and see. But Nico just waiting to pounce if anything does happen. Further down the field, by the way, Pat was another one that had to come into the pit lane for a front wing change. He made contact with another one of the soft runners on the second lap after the safety car, which is why he is down at the back of the field as well. So Pat was having a good race up to that point as well, and it's just unfortunately kind of fallen apart for him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. As Jensen, as you were saying, he does have a lot of ERS compared to the guys behind him, so he still will be able to defend them off for a little bit once he has that DRS of Fabi in front, but he will be looking to get past Fabi. Of course, IF4 only one spot in the championship ahead of TTG, so they are in a fight here in terms of the race and in terms of the championship. But Nico just making those a little bit of gains on the Scarlet Red of Ferrari in front of him. He is going to most certainly try a move on this occasion. He's burning the ERS, he has the DRS, and he'll have the slipstream. Throw a Rouge ready on. He'll have that little bit more grip than Jensen, although it is still easy flat on the medium compound tyres. Here comes Nico. He's not going to have enough in the tank, I don't think, on this occasion to get past.
Suku, though, going for the move down the inside of Laycom. He's left it late. He's not used any ERS down the straight, and he's not got the move. That's a really bizarre call there from Suku. I was riding on board with him. He didn't use a single bit of ERS down that straight. He went for the move at Laycom and couldn't pull it off. So that's kind of wasted a little bit of time for both of the drivers battling through the chicane. Where if Suku had used that little bit of ERS, which he does have an advantage in ERS over Baraka, he could have breezed past him down the straight. He chose not to, and it's cost them more time, and now that could leave him and the rest of the medium runners more vulnerable to the drivers behind. Look at that, the gaps that were 6 or 7 tenths are now just 4 or 3.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of cars in close proximity here. Apologies, someone picking up on Grimbos to start. Yeah, Grimbos as did really well considering he was struggling in the early parts of this Grand Prix. But this train now is going back almost to Jordan, who is 70% DRS, and he's at the back of this train, and he can overtake. So he will be looking. Fede also looking as we have a yellow flag. Actually, that is Nathan gone once again, and he's also had a reset to track there, unfortunately. So not looking too great for Nathan. Top of the order though, Leo almost in the DRS he used. So this battle for the race win is not over yet, folks, and it's also not really looking likely that we will get rain, and if we do, it will be the last few laps here. So this soft tyres, they will start to notice a little bit of a fade. Nico has to make moves now if he wants to take that little bit of a tyre advantage that he does have with him.
Yeah, he's got to make the moves now, like you say. Look at Fabi though. I think Fabi could have a run here on Suku down towards Lake.
He could. Suku has lost there big time, not going for the move on the last lap. Down the Camel Straight we go. Is Fabi going to look for just a little bit too far behind? He will still stick his Mercedes up the inside. No, too far back for Fabi. Just not enough straight line speed in that Mercedes. Suku could be running a good downforce setup. 10 to 15 minutes still for rain, so no rain. That's Grimbos. That's Grimbos. He has spun on the exit of Malmedy, and that is race over for MNT. Not good points for them today. That is both Alpines making a mistake. That is unfortunate for Grimbos. He has no wing and won't be back in this one, as Isma is going for the move on Jordan, surprisingly. Isma's got it. That's an excellent move, as there's a change in the lead. What's happened here? Used is slow. Used has had a spin of something. He is slow in the second sector. Leo stormed away with this one. One VSR driver loses a spot. The other loses the lead.
What on earth has happened to VSR on that lap? I think Jordan has damage. I think people were backing off to avoid Grimbo spinning. And I think, Jordan's definitely picked up some damage in that he's understeering heavily in the middle sector. So Jordan now with front wing damage, and Used, an unforced error by the looks of things, spinning out of contention. I don't know if he's hit anything. It doesn't look like he has. You're continuing on. So that says to me he doesn't have any damage, at least in that sense. But yeah, that is a real disaster on that lap for VSR, and what a lead that has given to Leo now. 3.5 seconds clear at the front of the field. If Baraka can just get within DRS range of Used down towards Eau Rouge, which I don't think he will, although he's gunning for it, he's just going to try and get the DRS on him, but I don't think he's quite within range.
He's got it now, but I think it was a little bit too late for Baraka. He still will, if he can keep up this pace, be in it for the next lap, because that's definitely unsettled the confidence of Used. And one TF10 man gets past the VSR man in the pits. That is Jordan into the pit lane, as there's a massive battle here for P10. It is Fede, Azzy and Isma. Isma's gone for two of them. He's gone down the inside of the Red Bull. Oh, this is close. True Lake Combe. He's going to try the inside of Malmedy. Absolute excellent Grand Prix driving from Isma. That is a splendid move. Even Mika Hakkinen would have been proud of that one. We've seen him get 2 cars down that straight before. That was an excellent move. FVR, what was looking like a poor result, really picked up in recent times. They have gained success from others' misfortune. Really good stuff from them. And Suku is struggling as well a little bit. He has gained up on Baraka, as that is Valentine out in the pit lane. No rain yet, says no rain in this race, apologies, says the IF4 garage seemingly. Now, thank you for the weather reports there. 10 to 15 minutes rain won't be in this race, so these soft runners are still going to struggle. And look at the gap up the front though. Used is gunning for this one.
Yeah, he really is. He's really closing that gap down. Leo, that's 1.5 seconds he's gained on Leo on this lap alone. So I don't know if Leo is playing it safe, or whether Used is driving out of his skin at the moment, but yeah, Used really close to the gap. Jordan now with a time penalty just to compound his issues at the back of the field at the moment. That will keep him in 16th, and he'll struggle to pass Pat unless he can clear Pat before the end of the race. But yeah, Used really pushing to try and get within range. Baraka equally, but Baraka using up his ERS to try and get close to Used on that last lap has left him even more vulnerable now to Suku. But look at that, Baraka already derating well before Eau Rouge. It's going to be a done deal here. No way that Suku doesn't get this move done this time around.
Yeah, Suku needs to get this done. He's found himself under threat, and look at that, easily passed, not even into the second bit of the Camel Straight, and he has passed up the Hassman onto the podium. That has cleared him from the threat. Behind that was Fabian Jensen. Now it will be Baraka's problem now. Nathan has got himself a fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so it still is something, I suppose, from what has been a terrible race for MNT. They will finish in 17th and 18th. That is not good for them. Nico, though, has not made the moves that we said he need to. The top soft runner is still in 7th spot.
Yeah, can't get anywhere now. And he briefly dropped out of DRS range down the Kemmel Straight as well. He was able to get back within it through Lake Common Malmedy, but yeah, you can see he's starting to struggle now. Kodor is doing a solid job as well in 8th position on those soft compound tyres, keeping up with Nico, and he's not under any major threat from Brock behind, but you can already see Brock and Isma are back on level pace, if not faster than the soft runners in front. So it's now for Nico and Kodor, it's just about hanging on for as long as they can.
A fantastic last lap for Used. Hasn't been repeated. He has not gained. He's lost time actually on TF10 Leo in front. Leo may have thought he just had to coast to the win, but he still has to go for this one because he's a VSR man behind him, and that is a threat in itself, but 2 seconds is the gap for Used. We're on to lap 19. Still a lot of work to do if Used does want to take this race win, which is looking unlikely after that mistake, but anything can happen around Spa. Of course, as the famous quote goes, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. But yeah, as you were saying, the medium runners apologies, back on level terms. There's a spinner at the back, that is Grimbos once again pushing for a fastest lap attempt. He's had a spin there, and I'm pretty sure the last thing the medium runners, or most certainly Leo, would want is a safety car.
Yeah, that would really put paid to what could be a great race of TF10, wouldn't it? There you go, 42.8 from Jordan. My word, that is a brilliant fastest lap from him, and kind of to be expected, but 15th is really the best we're going to see from Jordan in this race. Unfortunately, that is such a shame. Suku used up his ERS, but unlike Baraka, he's actually been able to get within DRS range now with the Aston Martin in front, so Use's race could go from bad to worse here. He's now under threat from, I say bad, he's still in second position, but it could get worse for him from this point onwards. Suku now right behind him, Baraka just keeping up as well. When I feel sorry for Jensen in a way. Jensen has been trying to get past Fabi for the past 5 laps or so, who's been all over the back of the Mercedes, but because of that DRS train, he just can't find a way through.
Yeah, but it really goes to show the standards we have set for VSR when he's about to drop down to turn, and we are saying it's a bad result, where what P2 would be an amazing result for Shizou, but that's just the level they are at. Unfortunately, in this championship, DRS train has been a big problem for Jensen in the early parts, but Fabi is slowly dropping out of that, so he could try and get a move done now. But Suku, you said, we were talking before the stream, that any team you've said did well has been a curse, but you said Shizou will do well. They're on course for a fantastic result on the podium. Let's just hope it hasn't been an even larger commentator's curse from me, as I'm sure I would have a couple of angry Shizou members coming for that. But the other Shizou member of Brock is now looking to get past Corridor. We said he wasn't under much pressure. He most certainly is now, and I think Suku is just a little bit too far off the back of Used on this lap, although yeah, he's just a little bit too far back. I think the other Shizou driver, though, is most certainly not. Corridor is really struggling, although Brock is deracing, so I don't think it will be as straightforward as he would like it. No, he's not even going to get him this lap, not even close enough for a dive bomb into Lake Home. Corridor being helped out by Nico in front. Soft runners stick together, clearly is the message between those two, and Jensen is still all over the back of the Mercedes. He needs to get past soon if he does want to get that P5, because Fabi will still have DRS of Baraka, and Fabi could even attack Baraka in the next time. But we are on lap 20, not much time to go in this Belgian Grand Prix.
No, only 2.5 laps to go in this race. All Baraka really wide.
Yeah, that was very wide.
Yeah, just about gets away with it in that time around, but he is right on the cusp now of losing DRS to Suku in front, so he's got to make sure that he sticks within that to try and hold on to that 4th position. Like you mentioned earlier on, TTG and IFR are really close to one another in the standings, so this is almost a personal battle at the moment for Jensen, isn't it, to try and get past Fabi and give the advantage to IFR in the standings at the moment. That is what they would desperately want, especially with Valentin out of the running, having had such a good race earlier on. Again, Jensen is just so close to the back of the Mercedes and can't find a way through. 2 laps to go, and all of a sudden it's clouded over heavily, so we could see a few spits of rain at the end, but I think at this point in the race it's just too late for any intermediate change.
No, yeah, it's definitely stick on the slicks to the end. We could definitely see Nico and Corridor, who are actually battling at this point in time with Brock behind. Brock could actually get the move done into the source, turn 1. He's going to try the outside corner. That's good defending from the FER-man. He will want to be keeping this spot and want to be continuing the good performance, the good form, apologies, from last week for FVO, but he is going to start struggling on these soft compound tyres. Gap up the front, 1.9 seconds. Used has not managed to pull anything out of the bag just yet, and he'll have to do some extreme work. This could be a 3-way fight for P7 here, as Corridor goes to the outside, and he should get this move done, but look at Brock trying to sneak his way through as well into Lake Home. It is Corridor ahead of Nico, who has lost the position to Brock as well. Nico is really struggling on those soft tyres. You can even see it on the game. They look dead on that right front.
Yeah, they look terrible, don't they? It's just a couple of laps too long, unfortunately. It's still a good recovery from Nico.
Brock's picked up a penalty. That's not going to help his chances. He now needs to get past Corridor and hope those tyres fail even more. As will we see any of these soft runners? Of course, there is only 3 of them remaining due to everyone else's pitting. Will we see some punctures? Quite possibly.
It's definitely possible. I think if anyone is going to get a puncture, it's like Nico, doesn't it? He's the one struggling the most at the moment. It's a good recovery from the back of the field for the OP man, of course, not having set a lap in qualifying, but still, yeah, not what he would have wanted at all. Brock's penalty could save him if he doesn't get a puncture in this race, but the problem is that Isma all of a sudden has caught these guys now, so Isma's right on the back and he's ready to pounce as well. So coming on to the final lap, and it's still a 1.9 second gap at the front. I think Leo has got this one covered unless he makes a mistake, but by the way he's been driving so far this race, I'll be shocked if he does.
And good news for Jensen was Fabi had dropped out of DRS. He has got back in that DRS, and just remember, Suku has that penalty. I didn't even notice that until now. So this would put Baraka back on the podium, and this could even give Fabi a position as well, who he has dropped out of DRS of Baraka. So if Jensen needs to move, he needs it now. ERS is much better on the IF4 Ferrari than it is on Fabi, who's already derating, and Jensen, he has to go for it now. This is his best opportunity on this final lap. Into the DRS he goes. This is for P5 for Jensen, who'd be his second best result of the season. He is passed, and back in front, patience has paid off for Jensen. Up to P5 for the IF Orman. Suku could still try something late on Just if Just gets a bad run through the second sector, but Just has looked very strong through the second sector. It won't be the win though that Just will be taking due to whatever happened to him. If it was a spin or if his car stopped or something, no one really knows, but it could be a dream result for TF10. It will be a dream result most likely for TF10 in their second race in this championship.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it, for TF10? What a great start to their campaign it has been, and believe it or not, we're on to round 5, and this will be the first time that VSR haven't won a race this season. That is crazy to think they've been on such a run. And there you go, there's the rain.
There's the rain. Just a little too late. Just a little too late for the Salt Brothers, unfortunately, who were hoping the rain would come a little bit earlier. Just has belted in this last lap, by the way. He has really gained a lot of time, and he's almost out of DRS. There is the rain now. It's coming down pretty quickly, but it won't be enough to stop the man who has won this race. He narrowly missed out on pole position, but TF10 Leo will cross the line and will win the Belgian Grand Prix in round 5. Just will get second, and it will be Baraka who will get third, Jensen fourth, Fabi fifth, Suku sixth, Brock will get seventh. Corridor has managed to hold out, and he'll get seventh. Brock drops down through the penalty. Isma in eighth. Good result for FVR. Nico comes home in 10th, followed by his teammate Fede, and Jordan will get 12th spot for VSR. So they would have wanted a little bit better than 12th spot for Jordan, but they'll still have a very solid lead at the top of the championship. Nathan has managed to come home 14th. I did not expect, 15th. Pat has got him. I didn't even expect him to finish the race with how much he dropped in those last two laps, but it is TF10 in first spot and last spot in the finished runners. So yeah, that's probably the first time that's ever happened this season.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit of a split result, isn't it, for TF10? But yeah, brilliant drive from Leo in that one. Really, really great drive from him, and it's great to see another team at the front of the field winning a race as well. Like you say, obviously VSR will be disappointed in the end with that overall result, but they had such a big lead in the championship coming into this round that it won't really matter too much to them. And the fact as well that OP had probably one of their weaker races of the season as well, so while it wasn't the result they would have wanted, they've not really lost anything in this championship. In fact, I think they've actually gained their championship lead still, despite Jordan finishing outside the top 10.
Yeah, still VSR on course to win this championship, most likely. We are halfway through the season, I believe. That is round 5 done. I believe there's 10 rounds. Although I could be wrong with that one, with some of the facts today. Well done, IF4. Yep, that's a great result. I think that was P4 in the end for Jensen. That's another P4 for IF4. That's if he did get P4 in the end. I think he did, due to the penalty. Yep, there it goes. Jensen finishes in 4th spot. But it is the win for TF10 Leo in the second race in this championship for TF10. They are the first team to dethrone VSR this season. It is used in 2nd spot, followed by Baraka in 3rd for WOR. WOR will be happy with that result in 3rd spot. I mean, who wouldn't be happy with a podium? Jensen finishes in 4th. Fabi finishes in 5th. Suku 6th, dropped down. He crossed the line in 3rd, but that penalty sadly cost them. Corridor in 7th, and Isma in 8th. 7-8 for FVR. They will be happy with that. It is Shizu Brock in 9th. Nico finishes in 10th. That runs out the top 10. Fede 11th. Jordan 12th for VSR. Pandrag in 13th. Azzy 14th. Pat in 15th. 16th for Nathan, who we've seen had that massive struggle and dropped down the order on that safety car restart. Jomaba in 17th, Grimbo's 18th, and your non-finishers were Valentine and WO or WO or Lars. So disappointing result for them too. But I think the real talking point of this race purely just has to be the pace and performance by TF10 Leo, because that was excellent at the top of the grid.
Yeah, it really was. Like you say, brilliant qualifying in the end it was from Hughes to get onto that pole position, and we've seen it so many times this season where they dominate qualifying and then go into the race and no one can get near them. But yeah, Leo was in the battle the whole race with, of course, with Hughes. The only time he lost out really was under the pits, was obviously, of course, in the pit lane under that safety car. That's only really when he lost time. He was able to get back close within DRS range as well, and then of course when he's made that mistake he fully capitalised. So yeah, fully deserved victory from Leo, and great to see TF10 in only their second race already picking up their first win.
Just a report on what happened at the back. Leo's wheel did disconnect, so it wasn't a purpose DNF. It was at the back of the grid. His wheel did disconnect. He didn't crash out, unfortunately. Thanks to Caden for messaging me that one. But it is VSR extending the championship at the top of the order, even with what will be a poor race from their standards. But that's it from us here, I think, in Belgium, unless you have any last things to say. That was a really good race overall. There was a lot of great battles in that one. I think one to note had to be purely the side-by-side of Beau Rouge. I can't even remember who did it, but it was an excellent battle.
Yeah, really excellent battle. It's great. Been a great championship so far. Like I said, halfway through this championship now, so into the back half of this championship now. It's going to be great to see how this championship continues to unfold from here as well, and of course great to commentate alongside yourself, Evan, for the first time. So hopefully we do more of this in the future.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm sure James will be back next week. He did watch the race and was feeding us information, so thank you very much, James. I appreciate that one. But that is all we do have time for here in Belgium. Of course, I'll be back next week. I think we are. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the next race is, but it will be an excellent one, that is for sure. It is VSR at the top of the standings. It is TF10 Leo who wins the Belgian Grand Prix. From myself, Evan, and Aidan, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.